Ladies and gentlemen, the Big Scoop panel.
Yeah! Big Scoop audio test, 1 second. Hello, hello.
I think this works, yep.
I'm actually here for the Scoop.
I just got back from the men's room where we had the big poop.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm trying to set the tone for the next hour. My sense of humor really never moved past the second grade. How you guys doing?
Great.
Coming good so far?
Santa's favorite.
How you doing now?
Now we're waiting.
What?
Good,
That's starting with a bang.
you gotta start high and then go low.
Okay. No, it's good. I didn't need to say that. I didn't need to say that in the mic. Yeah. All right, welcome to IDW's The Big Scoop. Thanks for waiting. Oh, thanks for coming. With me, I'm John Barber, Editor-in-Chief of IDW Comics. If you can see me, I'm down here. With me is Shelley Bond, head of Black Crown. Okay, I'm not. I don't know. Is it funny if I read down the list and get everybody wrong?
It's hilarious.
It's really good stuff. Next up is Michelle Fife.
Hi. Yeah.
You got it right the first time. Talented creator of Copra, among many other things, and we'll get into what he's doing at IDW shortly, if you don't already know. Vida Ayala is next.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm losing it. Next up is Joe Hill, creator of the and a lot of other stuff. And next to him is Gabriel Rodriguez, also creator of Black and Key. And then with us in spirit, I guess, is Alex Milne, artist of Unicron. We can let our hearts go out to him wherever he may be. Perhaps he'll turn up. Hopefully he's working on some Unicron number 6 pages.
Yeah.
All right, so 2019 is going to be 20 years of IDW. Now, if you could put that in perspective, imagine if you started a comic book company 20 years ago. Right now, it'd be the same age as IDW. I think that really makes it all hit home. It's been a really long run. I've been editor-in-chief for about 5 months of that. But I worked as an editor here for about 5 years before that, and I've written a lot of Transformers comics over the last, I guess like slightly more than 1/3 of IDW's existence. Yeah, I'm really excited. I think a lot of things have come and gone and changed in 20 years, and I think I'm really excited that we were. I think entering probably what's going to be one of our most fun, most exciting years. So let's get started talking a little bit about that.
It's a great image because there's like this spike of glass right under the eyeball, which is what you want to poke in your eyes if you were reading anyone else's comics.
That's it. That's what it represents. Make mine IDW.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit about what's coming up. We're also going to talk on this panel a little bit about what we've done, what some of the best of IDW, some of whom are on this panel as we speak. Coming up in January is a thing we're doing called IDW 2020. It's featuring some of our favorite characters that have been associated with IDW for a long time. What we're doing, the reason it's 2020 is we're looking 20 years into the future or 20 years into the past on some of these characters. This will be coming out weekly in January. Each issue totally stands on its own. We're going to start off, if all goes according to plan, January is a long time away, with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles by Paul Eller and Dave Watcher. We're going to look 20 years into the future as the Terrordrome returns and the, well, I guess they'll just be Mutant Ninja Turtles at that point. Have to save the day. Next up is going to be My Little Pony 2020 by Ted Anderson and Tony Custino. Is she here? Good, I got the name right. I'm sorry, that really threw me. I was not ready for that name. I apologize. I put it in here, and I cannot speak at all. IDW, so My Little Pony, we're going to be looking 20 years into the past. For the very first time, the main six, Twilight Sparkle, Fluttershy, everybody got together. And if you're asking, if you watch the show, you know, well, that's not possible. How is that going to work? So we'll have to find out in January. You have an idea?
No, I was just wondering if you were going to wreck My Little Pony continuity.
Good Lord, no. No.
Because if that's the case, I'm walking out right now.
As well you should. No, my daughter would not let us do that. One of the first things my daughter, as she was growing up, did was she was telling me, Daddy, you know, if Twilight Sparkle hadn't come to Ponyville, this would have happened and this would have happened. She was maybe, you know, four or five at this point. And she really rattled off what the entire alternate history of ponies would have been had that not happened. And I'm like, great, that's actually the #1 career skill you need, at least in my experience, that you need to be able to build a coherent, you know, fictional universe. I think that's really going to serve her in life.
So she's ready now.
Yeah, sure.
And she's getting a royalty.
Next up, Ghostbusters 2020 by Team Supreme of Ghostbusters, Eric Burnham and Dan Schoening. 20 years in the future, something strange is in the neighborhood, but who do you call in the future? We'll find out who the Ghostbusters of the future are. Any Gem and the Holograms fans? That was one that was close to my heart when we launched that. I love Gem and the Holograms. Gem 2020 by Sina Grace and Siobhan Keenan. That was actually me not being able to speak more than Miss. Again, 20 years in the future, getting the band back together. What have the past 20 years held for the Holograms?
And how about that cover? Is that by somebody on
Who did that?
panel,
That's
perhaps?
a thriller artist for Gem.
Yeah.
No, that was a really fun cover to do, and it came out way better than I expected it to be, and has the amazing color by Nelson Daniel, which is a magician with color. So, you know, it was great to give her a greatest hits cover album in the cover of the.
And can I just interject by saying, if you don't follow Gabriel on Twitter, you must, because he does process shots. And I was watching him work on this cover. I had no idea what it was, but he was drawing a microphone. I was like, I'm in. And then I saw what it was. I was like, that is rad. Please follow him. He's awesome.
All right. And finally, another Gabe special here. Star Trek The Next Generation, IDW 2020, by Peter David and J.K. Woodward. The return of Peter David to Star Trek, and the team that brought you Fallen Angel, if you're a fan of that book, kind of a classic from IDW too. We're going back into Picard's days as captain of the Stargazer. And again, here's another great cover by Gabe and Nelson Daniel. That's Picard with hair.
Yeah, basically.
and both Crushers.
Yeah.
If you don't recognize them. Speaking of Gabe, well, I think one of the biggest, best series that IDW's ever put out has been Lock and Key by Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez. So I really just want to kick this over to you guys. The series is coming to Netflix sometime, and
hopefully, at least Thursday.
It's a little more than hopeful at this point. I mean, it's been hopeful for a lot of years.
Well, we've learned the lesson, so.
It has been a kind of strange journey, you know, getting Lock and Key to TV, because there's actually at this point there have been 2 different pilots made for it, neither of which got on the air. There was Fox shot a pilot in 2010 that was directed by Mark Romanek, and with a script from Joshua Friedman, who was the showrunner for Sarah Connor, the Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles. Yeah. And that was tremendous. It was very scary, it was very Kubrickian, very chilly, you know, and Fox passed on it because it's too scary. Yeah. And besides, they had what they felt was an enormous potential hit in Alcatraz. Yeah. So they went with Alcatraz instead. Yeah, Terra Nova, right?
Both got canceled.
So
what a bet.
So that happened, and then we got a chance to do a pilot for Hulu, and we had a terrific director on it. This is
An amazing
ama-
writer
ama-
for the pilot, also.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we had a great director. We had a guy who had directed Andy Muschietti, who directed a terrific horror film called Mama. And then he shifted gears, and he made a family film about 7 kids in the 1980s who meet a magical clown, and they go on terrific adventures together. And that did pretty well. And then he went from that to directing a pilot for Hulu, which I thought was great. Everyone at Hulu thought it was great, except for the guy who writes the checks, the CEO. He felt differently, and unfortunately his was the only opinion that mattered.
Yeah.
So the Hulu show went away, and then Netflix surfed in and said, we'd like a taste. And so it does seem like it will happen with Netflix. They provided it with a series order. They begin filming in February, and so instead of shooting 1 episode, they're going to shoot all 10. They have a terrific showrunner in a woman named Meredith Averill. And if you want a taste of what she can do, she worked closely on The Haunting of Hill House, which drops on Netflix on October 12th, and looks really scary. It looks like a really good adaptation of that book. So I'm excited for that. They have taken some of the elements of the Hulu show and have used some of the ideas generated for that. The first script, the opening episode, does use some elements of what I wrote for the Hulu piece, and then also, and then it's been worked on by a guy named Aaron Collette, who is a first-class writer. And I had a look at the latest draft, and I thought it was terrific. So I'm pretty hopeful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I wanted to add, especially now that we're celebrating the anniversary of IDW, that I got to say that it's thanks to the passion and effort that the people from IDW Entertainment and everyone that got involved in this project, that it is finally happening. I don't know if there's any precedent of a license that took 3 efforts to get into air as a TV show. I think that itself makes for a great documentary to complement the TV series. Because I know from the get-go the passion that people